right world, so they don't really even know how to enact flirting when they're told to do that in a classroom. So, rigorous actor training, Moore argues, especially that grounded in traditional Stanislavski technique, forces students to look outside themselves, concentrate for extended periods, and thereby fostering the development of empathy. College acting classes are for Moore a, quote, veritable empathy boot camp, unquote. And she concludes her essay by saying there are important struggles and discoveries happening in the acting classroom. Perhaps theater can help us remember what it means to act like a human, unquote. The essay is positive, it's very validating, which is something many of us in the theater don't get a lot of in the day-to-day life of a red state university culture. So I even considered copying the link and sending it to a few administrators. But no matter how much I wanted to love her commentary, no matter how much I supported her impulse that inspired her to write this, there are two red flags I couldn't overlook and I want to address today. Specifically, I would refer to her belief in Stanislavski's technique as the means for learning empathy, coupled with her overarching assumption of empathy as the end game of a trained actor. First, let me address the use of Stanislavski. Most of us have some understanding, if you've been in theater, of the contentious history of this acting approach in the United States. Early on, it even generated a rift among the originators when Stella Adler went to Paris to meet with Stanislavski and then came back debunking the whole notion of emotional memory. And I would say that during my years of theater training, I don't think there's ever been a time when I haven't been in the middle of people arguing about whether the major tenets of this system weren't dangerous and could create psychological damage to the adherents. As a member of a theater listserv in the mid-90s, I can well remember the passionate exchanges among acting instructors who would argue about whether Stanislavski should be abandoned in the modern college classroom, especially for young, inexperienced actors. And a lot of the acting techniques in the late 20th and 21st century were developed to replace the primacy of Stanislavski. In my case, my training was balanced with Skolin improvisational training. And there have been a number of other things that have been used during the years and other people. In 2012, the director Charles Marwitz wrote a commentary in which he said, aspects of the Stanislavski system have been seriously questioned and in some instances abandoned. The very ethos of the Stanislavski system has been attacked and its efficacy called into question. Marwitz believes that the Stanislavski system leads to stale, repetitive theater, not life as we live it. He believes that the major fallacy is that Stanislavski believes that a character could only want one thing at a time, which actually is not a reflection of any true human behavior, since most of us frequently have multiple goals and mixed feelings. So the list of possible moods and mood changes were endless, and Marwitz, using Stanislavski, leads to a stiff, kind of stale approach, and not spontaneous, chaotic as life is lived. I think more emphasis on Stanislavski, no matter who wants to argue him, with no qualifiers at all, no acknowledgement of other acting techniques in current usage, just kind of undercuts her argument. The greater issue, and the research that took me down a hideous rabbit hole of mirror neurons and all kinds of other things, is the idea of empathy itself. Moore says acting class is, quote, a veritable empathy boot camp, unquote. But is it? And maybe more importantly, should it be? I've taught acting for over 20 years, and I cannot begin to count the number of times I have reminded students to use care when developing material for a class assignment if they take it from their own lives. Don't use things that are too fresh or too painful for you to approach as an actor. Don't tell me about someone close to you who died unless you're sure you have enough aesthetic and emotional distance to handle it. I don't want someone who I'm training to concentrate on multiple tasks, allowing each to punctuate the other for dramatic purposes, to collapse in an emotional puddle of feelings on the studio floor. I'm not a therapist, and I'm not a counselor. time, I'm not in disagreement with Moore that empathy is a necessary part of civilized human interaction, and I wouldn't argue there appears to be a growing shortage of it. Just living life, it's just that. Moore cited a study in her commentary done in Chicago with the Johnson O'Connor Research Foundation that talked about foresight, which is the ability to envision possible outcomes, and she claims that apparently the study showed a lot of actors have that. She said that couldn't possibly have existed without having empathy, and used that to underpin her actors are the most empathetic people ever. Well, I want to refute that claim by citing another study conducted specifically with actors by a group of psychologists at Boston College in 2009. The research was conducted to test the hypothesis that actors have unusually sharp mind-reading abilities and unusually strong empathy. Kind of what Moore was saying went hand in hand. They did two separate studies, one with adolescent actors at high school age, and then another with young adult actors coming out of college who had also done theater for a number of years. We did two tests to establish what the psychologists call theory of mind, which I'll explain in a moment, and then they tested for levels of empathy. The studies were done separately and they replicated each other. The results were the same with the actors each time. So theory of mind is an umbrella term that refers to our ability to understand that individuals can believe things that are false, alternative facts, and that there can be multiple interpretations of the same object or image. Begins in childhood, continues into adulthood, where a more advanced theory of mind is our ability to read kind of opaque behaviors and discern motivations and intentions that underlie behavior. Previous studies had demonstrated that psychologists, therapists especially, tend to have a very high theory of mind in a higher level than the general population. And the Boston researchers, Goldstein, Wu, and Winner, hypothesized that actors, given their need to become other characters, imagining motivations, would also show a very high theory of mind. When they tested empathy, which they say is simply the ability to feel another's emotions, that were also hypothesized to be at a higher level than the normal population among actors because of their training, especially Stanislavski method training. So what they found out, and they used standard scales of testing for empathy and two age-appropriate scales to test for this theory of mind and being able to read nonverbal. Then the results are absolutely fascinating. In brief, the actors in both studies showed very high levels of theory of mind in relation to their control groups, higher than the psychologists in many cases. The research verified that actors have a very well-developed strength of social sensitivity. They can read and understand underlying mental and emotional states, and by college age are able to decode the motivations behind social interactions. Both studies verify the hypothesis of the researchers. Actor training is a very clear indication of how theory of mind skill sets are acquired. Actors train in imagining the lives of others, using their face, body, voices to convincingly portray other human beings in any number of situations. So not only do they train how to do this themselves, the acting classroom includes a tremendous amount of theory of mind practice, as students watch other people play characters and then they determine whether that was convincing or not. Theory of mind skills are also sharpened through the interaction with other actors portraying other characters, as we do scene work, rehearsals, and performances. Where the research hypothesis found significant contradiction was in the study of empathy. In neither group of actors was there any evidence of higher levels of empathy than in the controlled general population. No statistical advantage at all, which were not expected results. The research team had expected actor empathy to rank as highly as their anecdotal evidence had suggested, and they even assumed that the empathy skills of actors would outweigh those of psychologists. But in the study 2 of the older actors, the mean empathy scores of the psychologists were actually higher than anything among the actors. The researchers provided several possible explanations for this, of which the most compelling was borne out later that year when Goldstein and Winter conducted a qualitative study of some professional actors to get some more detail. This explanation argues that, contrary to popular belief, actors tend to regulate their emotions so they don't confuse their feelings with that of another. Actors create convincing libido, other human beings. In order to do their jobs, they must rely on analysis over empathy. In Goldstein and Winter's qualitative study, they met with professional actors who reported a type of dual response when someone would relay an emotional experience to them. One actor said, "I'm listening and I'm being empathetic. In the back of my mind, I'm like, my God, that's so interesting." They can perform empathy externally while internally focusing on analysis. Goldstein, Wu, and Winter concluded that the experience of feeling others' emotions continuously would be emotionally exhausting and prevent an actor from ever being successful. Another explanation for why actors do not excel in empathy may be that their task is to perform a wide range of emotions on the stage and not necessarily feel those emotions. So even though we associate acting with emotion, acting students actually get less practice in empathic response than previously assumed. And the third explanation of low empathy scores has to do with actors actually being in perhaps highly empathic states while on stage and then shutting down their empathic responses when off stage as a means of emotional recovery. That would mean that empathy might be a state of being in an actor, but probably not an actual trait in them as a person. Researchers state that exploring this idea of on-stage, off-stage empathy would take a lot of additional study. In conclusion, the Boston College research supports the idea that the context of acting is an excellent place to continue the study of theory of mind, how it develops, and how it advances through time. But the authors strongly state that these studies, replicated across two different age groups of actors, clearly demonstrate that strength in theory of mind exists independently of strength in empathy. So where does that leave us? Well, it undercuts much of Moore's argument that the acting classroom is where the empathic citizens of the future will be created. And not that I want to be dismissive, and I understand that one cannot extricate all the complexities of the discipline in a brief essay targeted to an audience that is not in that discipline. But our language and our arguments matter. Conflating theory of mind and empathy could have negative consequences. I've been in higher education long enough to know that it is too easy for administrators to turn a brief idea into an item for strategic planning under the interdisciplinary checkbox. So, quote, say, I read this in the Chronicle. Very interesting. How about putting together some Stanislavski classes for the physics department? And what about moving the theater program into the business school? You know, innovative corporate training. I believe all theater practitioners have a deep respect for their discipline, including Moore. We have to honor our craft, though, challenge our preconceived notions, but we have to work to elevate our profession. And that is why, even in a climate trying to make all things mean all things to everyone on campuses, I would sincerely argue that we can't make theater what it isn't. We're not the empathy boot camp of the future.